Hello, Byron, and thank you so much for speaking to me. You're a two-time Academy Award winner, Zootopia, Encanto. You've been making Disney films for over 30 years.
That's true.
That's true. So you're a pretty big deal in the Disney world.
Oh, thanks. Well, no, I mean, I love my job. I have the best job in the world, and we'll talk a little bit about what I get to do on the job, including meeting wonderful people like yourself. And it's great. It's like the dream job you like think of as a kid. And it's like, honestly, when I was growing up, I loved drawing and I loved film and music, but I didn't know there was one job that would bring it all together. And this is it. So if you're interested, come on and do this, Martyn. Come on, it's fun.
Let's chat. Let's go all the way back to the beginning. So I think the story of where you started and to where you are now is probably like a dream story for most people that love Disney. So if you could talk about that.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So I mean, like as I said, I grew up loving film and cartoons. I loved Warner Brothers films. I Watership Down is an amazing English film that was like my favorite animated film growing up, like one of my favorites, and just the drama of it. And I loved Snoopy and I loved cartoons, but I didn't really. One day I had one of these little. Do you remember? Like you're too young, but back in the day they had these little toys where you could look through and you could kind of frame through films. Like they had a Star Wars one and they had a Snoopy one where Snoopy was playing baseball, and the Snoopy one, Snoopy was running from base to base, and I was like clicking through, and it looked like someone had drawn every single drawing of him running, and I was like, that's crazy. That can't be a job because no one would be insane enough to do that. And then so for years and years I put that aside. Like that can't be a job. But then when I got to college and started studying film, I was studying live action film. I wanted to be an editor for a while. I thought maybe I'd go into live action directing. And I was so stressed out from my schoolwork that I went to Disney World down in Florida, where I visited the then newly being constructed Disney MGM Studios, which was going to have an animation studio in Florida. And it was all dirt, but there was a sign that said future home of Disney Animation. I thought, oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that Disney Animation was going to have a studio down there. And in that same trip, because Florida was 1,000,000 degrees, we went to see a movie, and that movie happened to be Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And that blew my mind because that combined noir film and like great live action stuff and Robert Zemeckis and like Disney characters and Warner Brothers characters and history and intrigue. And I thought it was just this wonderful mishmash of ideas that I loved. And so I started that sparked it. That got me really interested in animation. So I went back to school. I changed my major from live action to animation. The next year, Little Mermaid came out, and that sealed the deal. I loved that movie so much with the music and Ariel and Sebastian. And I was like, okay, I got to be a part of this world. So there's a book. If you like animation, folks, there's a book called The Illusion of Life by Frank Thomas and Ollie Johnson. I geeked out. It's super thick. It's like super thick. And I read it cover to cover, and I was like, I'm going to be an animator. And then in 1990, long ago, I moved to Florida saying, I've got a portfolio and I'm going to get right in because I'm awesome. And they're going to let me into that animation internship and I will be a star. And they didn't. They said no. They said no, not once, not twice, not 3 times, but 4 times, folks. Kids, 4 times they said no. And then finally, they had mercy on me, and they called me in and they showed me what a portfolio looks like an organized portfolio. And they said, well, I know they knew I didn't have the money to go to figure drawing classes, so they let me sit in on figure drawing classes with the animators. I got tips from the animators. Everyone was very gracious. And the next time, number 5, is the time that I got in. So if you stick with it, everybody.
That's it, perseverance. There's a story there, all about perseverance.
Exactly. And then my first film was Pocahontas, and then I moved on to like Mulan and Brother Bear, and then we could talk about the directing later on. But that's it. It's really about perseverance, and it's really about like there was so much frustration there, and there was so much time when it was like, why isn't it happening now? And it turned out way different and way better than I ever could have imagined. So hold on to your dreams, folks.
Congratulations, Officer Hops.
I won't let you down. This has been my dream since I was a kid.
I mean, it's so crazy. You must have seen, how films are sort of made through animation from like the early days of like drawings and it being almost like a flip book, and then all the way through to like the digital world that you're working in now. And has that kind of like sped up the process lots, or has it made it more fun, more creative? I mean,
It's funny because it's like, honestly, one of the parts I kind of skipped over is while I was in Florida, being rejected by animation over and over again, I got a job in the theme parks. And I was like, well, if I can't be down there in animation drawing stuff, I could be an animation tour guide. So I became an animation tour guide in the Magic of Disney animation tour. So I wore kind of a horrible polyester blue suit, terrible pants and stuff, but I brought people through. And at that time, 2D animation, traditional animation was exploding. Lion King was just coming out, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, all these major, major films that were just becoming worldwide sensations. So Princess Di came through. Like every star you could think of came through those halls, and we showed them around, and just to see how that was blowing up. And then when I got down there, there were still so many films to come, like Hercules and Mulan and Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then as the CG came in, I was working on Lilo and Stitch when we saw the first dailies from, I think it was from Finding Nemo. And we're like, oh my gosh, the world is changing. And so the world continued to change. Animation continued to get bigger and better and grander, and just the possibilities opened up. And now it's everywhere. Disney's not the only game in town. Like, we have many, many studios who are doing wonderful, wonderful things. But it has been an amazing journey, and it continues to change. It continues to advance technology-wise, but always allowing us to tell better stories.
I've loved all of these chats I've had with like the Disney insiders. So I just keep learning and learning and learning. So it's really cool. I suppose one of the things to touch on with like Zootropolis 2 or even Zootropolis is where does the research even begin? Like, if you're going to try and mimic an animal's world, its kingdom, its habitat, how do you go about that?
Yeah, well, honestly, one of the luxuries that we have at Disney is that the studio really treasures research. Like, we know that the best stories come from the real world, and the real world is more fascinating than any fiction you could possibly make up. So we really, Jared Bush, who runs the studio creatively now, he's my boss, what the heck. But I hired that guy as a writer on Zootopia, and he felt like this brother that I had never met, and we had so much in common, and we just loved working together. So we just sat down and created that world from the ground up. And this idea that animals lived together in this big society in a huge metropolis for Zootropolis was the hook. Anytime we told people that, they were absolutely hooked, absolutely fascinated. But the time they really got fascinated was when we really made it hard on ourselves and we figured it out. We said, okay, here's the rule. We're not going to cheat. Like, in this world, elephants are elephant-sized, mice are mouse-sized, and everything in between kind of has to relate, and even down to what they eat. Right? So that's a problem with animals because they tend to eat each other, including us. So what do? And we spent probably a year and a half talking to many researchers around the world, animal experts, including Joe Rohde, who designed Disney's Animal Kingdom, who worked with hundreds of animal experts in creating that park. He's an amazing resource. Also, William Carr Hartley, who is an amazing safari guide, who not only came to the United States to talk to us about the characters of different animals and what they eat and how they live together in a society, but he also took us to Kenya, which was the most, I kid you not, I've been everywhere in the world. That is the most incredible trip I've ever taken. Jared and I and a team of about a dozen artistic leaders from our show got to camp out there in the wilderness. We woke up next to a watering hole where we saw predators and prey together around the water, not eating each other. They were behaving very well, and that watering hole that we saw in Kenya became the center of the whole city. So if you look at Zootropolis, there's a central plaza right in front of the police station, and that is the original watering hole that created the whole city. This idea that animals could be together and cohabitate and be, and behave one another, and kind of respect one another. That came from that moment in front of that watering hole in Kenya. So it all comes from research.
Let's talk about food. I'm a chef. So let's talk about,
awesome.
So Byron, the premise of the whole show, Dish Up Disney, is I am taking Disney dishes from the films and I have to recreate them into real life situations. So basically giving people the opportunity to cook them at home. So I'm doing the bowl of worms.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good, but these guys look hungry.
If you could recreate that in real life, how would you go about it?
Well, so is the rule that you have to use the exact ingredients, or is it a facsimile? Could it be pasta? Could it be...
It's got to be edible, and
Yeah?
it's got to be like a real food, something that you would be
Yeah.
tempted to eat.
Oh boy, that's a tough one. Well, see, talking to someone with a texture problem, yeah, I would say like if you can get it away from the slimy nature of worms and something, I don't know, do you have a style that you're gravitating toward? Is there something as a chef? What pops into your head? Is there something that kind of like goes, oh, this is the path for the worms? Like, where are you going?
Well, initially when I thought about it, it was like the jelly route, but then we're going to go savoury.
Oh.
So how do you make something savoury that has got that weird kind of like glistening to it?
Yeah.
And
Oh,
wormy
yeah, that's
texture.
true. You could lean into it. Yeah, it's funny because it's like, I'd say I have the texture problem, but like gummy bears and Sour Patch Kids, like I love that stuff. That's great with me. So it's like, yeah, I'd be interested to see. Like, I'm very, very curious to see how you conquer this. I also, yeah, it's a challenge. It's like chefs seem like they have a lot on their plate, so to speak, to kind of figure this out and figure out what's going to be appealing. I guess the color, I guess, would also have to be appealing because I think in the movie we did everything we could to make those worms unappealing. But that's sort of the opposite of your job. So I'll be very curious. I know you're very talented, so I look forward to your chef decisions and see what magic you're going to work.
Thank you. I think this is probably the most challenging one I've had to do. So.
Oh my gosh! Well,
I'll be pulling on all my knowledge. I need a research trip.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, use organic worms, please.
Animating food in movies is hard. When I've spoken to a couple of other people, but how did you go about thinking about what dishes you were going to do and all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, well, it's funny. I think we were talking about this, but insects and the insect, they're very healthy for you. They're high protein, low fat. I have not had worms. I have had crickets. And Jared, during our research trip, another research trip for Encanto, Jared in Colombia enjoyed some. They're called big butt ants. Look it up. It's true. They have big butts and they are crispy, tasty. And I didn't do those, but Jared did those. But the crickets I had were pretty good. They're kind of crunchy, and we talked about that as possibly the food of the future, including worms. Worms they have a lot of good protein, and the ones in Zootropolis, I have to say, a credit to our effects artists, are incredibly realistic. Maybe too realistic. Tell me if you think that. Yeah.
There was a few different varieties of worms I think that I saw in there. There was some thin ones and some very thick ones, which I definitely would pass.
Too thick.
What you were saying, you tried some of the stuff. What other bugs did you try? Did you get stuck into anything else?
No, I mean, I'm a little squeam. Like, do you guys have Jell-O over there? Do you know what Jell-O is? I don't like Jell-O or any like gelatin or like foams. Like, I know like a lot of chefs probably like yourself experiment with like micro gastronomy, like foams and stuff. I don't love foam or strange textures. I have a texture problem, so I have to kind of watch what I eat. So if it's crispy bug, yes. Squishy bug, maybe not.
Very good.
If you can make the worms crispy, that could be a request for you, Martyn.
There we go. Okay, right. I'll work on that for you, and I'll send it over to you when I'm done.
Thank you.
Was there any other like foodie moments within Zootropolis that were real sort of like hidden nuggets, like play on things that were sort of like little Easter eggs that you can remember?
Absolutely. Well, we did have to, because of the research, we learned that some animals, and this is the problem, because like in the first film, especially Zootropolis 1, that's about predators and prey, and we learned from our animal experts that some predators are called obligate carnivores, and what that means is that they cannot eat vegetable matter. They get no nutrition from vegetable matter at all. So like wolves and dogs, but the big cats like lions and cheetahs and tigers, they are called obligate carnivores, so they have to get their nutrients from pre-processed protein, which is in the tissues of other animals. We're like, well, how do we do that? So that's where, sad to say for fish and for insects, they had to take the hit for the world of Zootropolis. So there's a big business in Zootropolis with alternative food. There is Bug Burger, that is a fast food chain that predators enjoy. Shea Cheese is a rodent restaurant, which it was cut from the first movie. I'm hoping that it comes back in the future. Nick actually had a job there as a fry chef in a tiny restaurant, which he had to cram himself into. And it was actually shaped like a nice wheel of what's the best Swiss cheese that you like, Martyn? What's your favorite Swiss cheese with lots of?
You're putting me on the spot here. I always think something like a Comté I'm a big fan of, but that's probably French.
Oh, Comté. Big wheel of Comté. Oh, delicious.
Or a raclette cheese, a Swiss mountain cheese, a smoky one on a raclette wheel. That would do
I
me.
love raclette. Ooh, raclette. See, cheese makes everything better.
Was there moments in the first Zootropolis that you then hid some, like, I always think about these like Easter eggs, like posters or anything, which kind of like predicted what would be happening in Zootropolis 2? Do you leave little trails throughout the movies?
Oh, well, I think we always, Jared and I, when we sat down, the first movie had to be about mammals because the predator-prey thing really only works if you're talking about mammals. Like once you get into reptiles and birds and fish, and it kind of all breaks down. So that first one just had to be the furry mammals. But we knew that hiding out there in the world on this planet, whatever planet we're on, beyond this city, we're probably every other species that we have here on Earth. So we have, there are little nods to areas called Outback Island, which I did tons of drawings for Outback Island on the first film that didn't make it into the first film. We had one koala in this film, in the new film, Zootropolis, at the very end, Robert Irwin, who's a dynamite actor.
One-way ticket to Outback Island, please. First class.
Very nice. Oh, and remember, if you're happy with our service, please be sure to leave us 4 thumbs up.
Such an appealing guy, brilliant guy, terrific koala. So that's another nod to Outback Island. We always talk about other areas like the Nocturnal District, which would be the cheapest area that we would ever produce because it's completely black, can't see a thing. So our producer is all about doing that. But yeah, I'd say like that again. Anytime we dive into bringing in new species into the world of Zootropolis, we do that research. We dive into reptile experts. We dive into amphibians, and we talk about like a basilisk, Jesus from the film who can run across water. That's an actual animal superpower. So the more we can kind of lean into animal superpowers and really stick to what's amazing about these creatures and bring it into our weird Zootropolis world where they walk and talk like us and have the same problems and have to go to therapy and they have family issues and financial problems. That's where the entertainment comes from.
Notice how she answered first, did not allow her partner to speak, seems to be in a state of denial and taps her foot when she's suppressing discomfort.
So good. And come on, have you started working on another one? It must be endless, the animals that you can work with.
It is endless, and it's like, it helps that the second movie did so well. I mean, that was the best feeling because we love that world, and it was almost a decade for Jared and I because we started on the first film back in 2011, even working on it, and then it came out in 2016. So it's been a good 10 years since the first film. So my hope is that there will be many more. I love these stories, and Nick and Hops especially. Like they're such a great pairing because their contrast between them is so great. That is something so interesting because instinct is one thing, and then emotion is another. And so just to see animals just like ourselves, kind of making decisions day to day and kind of figuring themselves out in really kind of challenging situations because we have a very, very complex world, as you know.
Wow, that was almost a compliment.
Your worst idea is what you did with your ears.
Have you snuck yourself in there as a character yet?
Oh yes, no, I'm in there. I am Joel, the strangled deer, in the beginning of Zootropolis 2. So Jared actually choked me. I have footage of him actually throttling me.
Who'd like to go first? Thank you, Joel. Okay.
Yes, that was me. I'm also one of the 2 German goats who come down the hill. I think I'm the one with the walker.
Oh, this is weird place for you to be.
Yeah, very weird.
You they fell out of the tube. Okay, we will call police to help.
Jared and I both took multiple years of German in high school. I took 4 years. Jared probably took 6 years of German. So this is the only time we've had the opportunity to really use those absolutely perfect German accents.
Beautiful. And was it you? Was it your voice?
It was me. That was me. Yes, it was me. It was, and I'm being sarcastic about the German accent. All of Germany is rolling their eyes really hard because they're terrible. But no, it's a pleasure. Like we kind of sneak ourselves in here and there because this movie we had 75 speaking roles, including ourselves, and so lots of cameos. It's a dream now because people, including celebrities, know these movies and know the world now, anytime an opportunity comes up for them to kind of pop in and do a little hidden cameo is great. It's a wonderful thing because people will actually come to you and ask to be in the movie, and that's been such a wonderful thing.
Do you, obviously you research the animals, but do you have a specific person that you know would play that role perfectly? You sit there going, yeah, I'm going to piece them in there quite easily. It's
funny. Well, on the first one, I would say like Jason Bateman especially, there's nobody in the world who does what Jason does, as far as like someone who can be super sarcastic, but you just absolutely love him. Like those actors who can do that are so rare. So finding him, like he was our only choice on that list. We're so happy he said yes.
If I may, I think someone's just jealous that we got to drive the squeal-mobile. Or maybe you thought it was your mama.
And then, Jennifer Goodwin, I got to know her on that first film, and her personality was so wonderful and strong. Like we were writing Hops in a very different way. We were writing her kind of like a cowboy cop, and she was very aggressive. And it didn't feel right to have Jennifer do that. But like once we leaned into who Jennifer is, that was like, oh, that's who Hops is. It's like that good-hearted kind of Eagle Scout who kind of comes in and is going to do the right thing. It's so bright and so enthusiastic, and that's exactly who Hops became.
Hey, Officer Hops, you ready to make the world a better place?
And then the really interesting thing is on this movie, Zootropolis 2, this new character of a snake came up, and I think the story with like Jared thought this up. He was watching the Stephen Colbert show one evening, and Ke Huy Quan was a guest on Stephen's show, and Ke is a huge Stephen Colbert fan, and he came in and he was saying at this awards show how he had just barely missed crossing paths with Stephen, and he was so disappointed because he wanted to meet him because he's such a fan. And Ke was so enthusiastic and wonderful and winning and lovable that Jared and a couple of the other animators started talking about perhaps using him as the voice for Gary the Snake. And our lead animator, Adam Green, took that footage from the Stephen Colbert show and animated to the sound of Ke just going ape over Stephen Colbert, and that was it. It was like, so this, and I came in a little bit later, but when I saw that test and heard Ke's voice, which is totally unexpected coming from a snake, we're like, oh, that's one for the history books. Like Ke was so good. He brought so much heart to that snake, and not everybody's comfortable with snakes. Like some, they're squiggly, and some folks don't like our producer Yvette has like a little bit of an aversion to snakes. But I grew up having snakes and reptiles. I love reptiles. But I'd say again, that's where great casting can really make a character sing and really help a film.
We shall succeed, Judy Hops. We'll stop the Linksleys and save your partner.
I'm sorry. You are...
Oh, Gary the Snake.
And your last name?
The Snake.
So Byron, having talked to you about all of the research for Zootropolis, I hear that you've also worked on Encanto, and it's one of the big things that you love is the research. So could you tell me a little bit about the research you did for Encanto?
Yes, absolutely. It's like, when Lin-Manuel Miranda and Jared and I got together and talked about, we all wanted to do a musical together. Lin wanted to do the definitive Latin American musical, but we had no idea where it was going to be set. And luckily, this is where fate intervenes. Like, you never know where this is going to come from. But two documentarians who did a documentary on the first Zootropolis are Colombian, and they became great friends of ours. And they were like, if you're looking at South America, you should really look at Colombia. And none of the three of us knew much about it. But they took us down there, and we had the most amazing trip. Colombia is like 5 different countries all in one. They've got the coastal, you've got like the mountains, they've got rainforest, biodiversity everywhere, like animal paradise. And the food, as a chef, I think you would appreciate it. Like, the food is incredibly delicious, and we were hosted by families down there, and really it's the most warm, welcoming country you would ever hope to visit. And we spent a lot of time down there, and it was right before COVID kicked in, so our other teams couldn't go. Like, we were the only team that got to go, but man, it's like, that is where research is so important, because if you're making a movie about someone or somewhere in the world, to fall in love with that culture and those people and their traditions and their food it makes all the difference. Because we came back from that trip just charged up. Lin was listening to music everywhere in every city, making notes, writing songs and lyrics in his head. He was in his hammock resting one night, and he was writing the lyrics in his head to Mirabelle's song. Jared was writing down ideas for stories. I was sketching, and it's a crazy, wonderful experience. And the fact that our studio loves that, and not only expects us to do it, but we all get together when we get back and we share those experiences, and then it supercharges your crew so that they can charge forward and over the next like 2 years really create something wonderful and emotional and special. So research, science, learning, do it. Go to school, love school. It's great. It's like going to school forever. It's awesome. It's an awesome job.
I did a degree in photography, and one of the first lessons they said is walk a different route to school or walk a different route to uni, and you'll see something new every single time. So, yeah,
that's absolutely true. I love that. I love it.
Have you got any questions for me?
Yes, I do have some questions, Martyn. Like, how did you get into cooking? What did you have? What was the spark that got you into cooking?
I'd say my mum. My mum, weirdly, she said to me, everyone needs to eat, so it's a very good industry to go into. And then, the first restaurant I worked in when I was like 15, I think. And then I just started working, loved it, immersed myself in it, and kind of took breaks here and there, but worked all the way through restaurants, cookery schools. And then now all of my stuff is focused around food waste. So, educating everyone on how not to create waste and save the world and all of that kind of stuff. So, yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm 39 now, so I've been doing it a long time.
You look like you're 21 years old. You're just a kid. You look so young. That's amazing. Well, I mean, I have such admiration for chefs, and we watch tons of cooking shows and baking shows, and the fact that there's such skill and tradition, and like we've been making food for however long, 70,000 years as human beings or whatever, and the fact that it's so refined and there's so much history behind it. And every time I tune into a show, especially from the UK, we'll hear of ingredients or names or things we've never heard of, like Bakewell. Like I knew nothing about Bakewell until I tuned into the British baking show. And I don't know. We are definitely foodies, and the fact that we've been, again, my job is wonderful because it does send me around the world to meet people and find things that they love, and they introduce us to those things. And food is so much of something that brings us all together, that unifies us, that fascinates us, and the fact that there's so much knowledge. Again, it's like going to school forever. Like you can never learn everything there is to cook, just like I can't ever learn everything about worms and bugs and animals. But good for you. I think that's a wonderful thing, and I think I admire food folks a lot.
No, and it is amazing, the community thing that you're saying, like the Colombians, it's all about family, it's all about sharing, it's all about coming together. So, yeah, it's beautiful. Byron, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolutely amazing chat.
Thanks, Martyn. It's a pleasure. Yeah, it's awesome. I love this show. I love your work, and I cannot wait to see. I'm waiting with bated breath to see what the heck you do with a bowl full of worms. But I know you can do it. If anyone in the world can, it's Martyn Odell, and I can't wait to see what masterpiece you come up with.
Thank you so much. I'm going to sound clip that and take that for the rest of my life. Thank you so much. Cheers, Byron.